let you guys know that you definitely want to be checking out the Sculpture Studio. That's right, there, your luxury transformation beauty and spa. That's right, offering beauty services by certified beauty professionals from non-invasive body treatments, cavitation, skin tightening, enlargements, teeth whitening, and foot detox, even waist trainers and shapewear, plus all natural feminine hygiene products. Also from Express Makes offering powder brows, brow tinting, and so much more. That's right. And also, that's right, lashes, make lashes. All right, guys, there's so much more down there. Ladies, you can also shop makeup and accessories located in number 19 Regent Center across from the post office and next door to BAF. Financial open from Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. Out on Saturday, 10 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. On Sundays and holidays, they're closed. But you can call 602-6785 today for your beauty transformation and book an appointment. That's right, at the Sculpture Studio, making you feel beautiful inside and out. Call 602-6785. Now into the Yesterday's Brunch Show. It's the Dream Boom Show. You're tuned in to your host, Dream Blooms, on Yesterday's Price, an exclusive conversation on all things value. It's time to eat good, feel good, and be good because God is good. Okay. See who we are interviewing this week as our special guest and join the conversation. This conversation is sponsored by Miss Nat's Restaurant. Call 352-7596 and please your order for some good behavior breakfast and lunch. What did it cost you? Well, we'll find out soon. That's right. It is today's show. That's right. Yesterday's price, an explosive conversation on all things value. I'm super excited to be talking it up today with a very special guest in studio. It's turns out the 1 o'clock hour, and I am super excited, okay, because this is the topic. That's right, the cost of tutoring with one of the lead tutors at A1 Academics, a program for kids. That's right, the learning program for kids. The one and the only Miss Ashley Johnson. Now, I know we gotta get to the other side. We gotta chat it up. But I just want Miss Ashley just to tell everyone, something that people don't know about, like a little trick to learning and how you probably started, your little learning process. And I say little, but not little. So I'm gonna get to the other side, but Ashley's gonna join me right here.
Hi, I am so excited to be here. I am Ashley. I'm a tutor of about 5 years. I've tutored kids in different parts of Grand Bahama, Abaco, Freeport, Bimini, Eleuthera, in Canada, as well as different parts of the United States. As it comes to a trick to learning, that's a really, really good question. But I would just say understanding that learning isn't a one size fits all equation. I feel like it's understanding that learning just depends on your unique learning style, learning type, who you are as an individual, as a child, as an adult, because we all are in the process of learning something every single day.
Well, that's amazing. Okay, guys, so I'm here and y'all know how this works. Y'all already know how this works. So I definitely want to let you guys know the first thing that you need to be doing is grabbing yourself something good at Miss Nas. Y'all know what I say. Get the wings and listen, enjoy the conversation. 352-7596. Y'all already know how I feel about that. And then I want you guys to make sure that you are, if you're listening from anywhere, if my girl mob family is listening, definitely I want you guys to make sure that you're tuned in on live streaming on dub103fm.com to listen anywhere on any device. Okay, that's number 2. And for those of you who want to watch us live, you want to go on Draya Bloom's YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are subscribing, you're liking, and making sure that you are engaging with us. We want to hear from you. We want to talk back to you. And we are super excited about today's show because this is a very special guest. Okay, and I've known this guest for a while. And one thing I know about her is more than she's a tutor, she's just an amazing person, and your kids are definitely in good hands. But we want to backtrack because we need to go through the meat of everything. Okay, so you are tuned into yesterday's price, an explosive conversation on all things value. That's right. We're going to be having a valuable conversation with Miss Ashley Johnson about her program A1 Academics, but mostly about the cost of tutoring. So we want you guys who are listening, Dove Nation, as also the Yesterday's Price listeners and viewers, you know what we want to do. We're going to ask Miss Ashley, who is Ashley Johnson? Talk to us.
This is a really good question. I already said I am a tutor, and I have experience with tutoring kids in different parts of the world. But moreover, I'm definitely a creative at heart. Okay. I love anything to do with art and expressing myself in different ways. I'm also a world changer. I copped that from a high school teacher of mine who called me that when he just noticed that anything I did was to impact others around me. And it was always more or bigger than myself. And so I would definitely say those are some things about me and who I am. But ultimately, I'm a servant and a vessel. So it's really just what I feel led to do, to be able to impact, to be able to inspire, to be able to just help others.
Girl, that was so good. That was so good, girl. You okay? Now listen. Now, Miss Ashley, you got started with a very special program. Now, one thing I want to say is that she's amazing. When at the time when you got started with A1 Academics, I was doing my kids program, Tree of Life for Kids. You remember? Yeah. But this is so funny. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because tutoring is so important, and you know who tutors your child is very important as well. But one thing I noticed about what A1 Academics was offering, it was just so beautiful and unique because you have someone who's able to be patient, with your children, and that is so important because you ain't got the patience, you ain't got that time, because after you get off from work, sometimes you ain't got it. Okay, and so what Miss Ashley offers is so unique and just so beautiful, is that she offers patience in the learning process with your child. And that's what sometimes what most children need. And so if they're not getting it in school because the classes are 45 minutes or it's shorter or anything like that, then after school, this is what they should be doing. And some children, they cannot learn on their own independently. Yeah. They cannot learn independently. And so that is the purpose of bringing on a tutor. But before I get into that, I want to know, because like I said, at the time when you were doing it, I want you to see, I'm trying to show you the transition. I went from being, a tutor to all kind of different things, but a radio host. Okay. So you had to transition from somewhere and become a tutor. So how did you become a tutor?
This is a really good, hefty question, actually. So starting from the very beginning, I actually needed a tutor myself. So it really all started from just needing a solid academic foundation from the top. So I was always that child who needed to sit in the front row, in the front pew. Like I had to be in the front because I wore glasses. I couldn't see anything from anywhere but the front. So I was sitting in the front, but it's crazy because it's like an oxymoron. I'm sitting in the front, but I never knew what I needed to do. Like everybody else around me, like they were raising their hands, they were engaging, and I was just lost in the sauce like all the time. And I just remember that feeling or that experience. I never vocalized it, but I just never knew what I was asked to do. It wasn't that I wasn't focused. It wasn't that I wasn't trying to participate. I just was unsure of what to do. And it wasn't until my mom was sitting down with me to help me with homework when she was so frustrated. I love her so much. She was so frustrated. And she just asked me out cold. She was like, why don't you know what to do? Like, what's going on with you? And it was the first time that I had admitted out loud that I was just guessing. Like, I would just guess. Like, it was multiple choice, like B, B, A. Let me try C because I didn't do C. Let me try D because that's new. And then let me go back to B. To just get 50s, 20s, 60s on a good day and just not be sure. And then my mom decided to get me a tutor throughout the summer, and that changed my life completely. It wasn't just about what she was teaching me, the foundation, but it was the patience and grace that she showed me, and it was the foundation that she set,
Okay.
you know? And so fast forward
Mhm.
to 10th grade, in order to, anybody who does schooling in the Bahamas knows you need hours to graduate. You need a certain amount of community service hours. And so fast forward to the 10th grade, I needed hours. And I was going to different church events, and there were some kids at my church who could benefit from tutoring. And I took it upon myself to say, well, I could help these kids. I've always been told all my life that I break down information differently, that I work backwards, but I know how to break down information. I could put things in a different order. And if it helped me, it could probably help somebody else who is struggling in the same way or in other ways. And so they had grown from that experience. That just was there. I got the hours that I needed. And then fast forward to my 12th year in high school, I was always actively involved with the youth. I was always trying to find ways to talk to 7th graders, 8th graders, 9th graders. Like, everybody knew me around the school. And I got so close with a group of 7th graders that I had overheard their conversation that they were having. They were just talking about how this teacher is so strict and this teacher is so boring and this teacher is so this and that, or whatever the case may be. And I was just listening because it's like, they're venting. Let me not rain on their parade. This is how they feel at this time. And then they all looked at me like a light bulb went off in their heads, and they were like, you could help us. And I looked at them, and they kept repeating. It's like, you could help us. Like, like, you got this. And so I remember looking at all of the different things that they put in front of me of this class and the next class. And I was like, yes, I could. Like, there was something inside of me that knew, like, they don't get it like this because you have to say it like this or break it down like that. And I remember taking their notes and rewriting it and putting it in different media. And I started afternoon classes in my homeroom. And I remember my first kind of review from that start of that program. A child went from a 3 to a 3.5 in one school term.
Ma'am, okay. This is what we're talking about. Some sort of foundation. Listen, she didn't just happen to just fall into this. Like, it was a process of getting into it, and it started with her. I like that. That's good. You know, a lot of things that we want to do in life or whatever the case is, we just think that it's gonna fall into it. No, I mean, we do fall into it, but the way that it happens is like not by happenstance. Sometimes it affects you first, and so she needed a tutor. Well, not really, but her mom became a tutor in her life per se. And so it started with the parents, guys. And then eventually she recognized that there was something about me that people kept saying about me that that is just in the back of my mind. And guess what? I can do this. I can do this. I hope you guys tell your children that they can do this and let them say that I can do this. What is it that's something that stands out about your child? Well, this is the time now, okay, to let them check out A1 Academics. Now, with Miss Ashley Johnson. Now, the reason why, we're talking about this tutoring thing is because I remember, having my kids program called Tree of Life for Kids, and how that got started. Very funny, right? Sitting with the Lord, seeking him out. We're going to talk about that in a minute, about you. Sitting with the Lord, seeking him out. I was asking him, God, what do you want? What do you really want me to do? Because I was on a full-time job, and I was like, what do you really want me to do? And right after Matthew, I started going to the library, and I started doing story time with the kids. And story time with the kids, actually, it was just volunteer. I just wanted to, read to kids, give them that emphasis on, just give them some sort of fulfillment, joy, and all that stuff. And so then it became where I started, like, the churn down there. So they was like teaching them how to read, right? And so teaching them how to read, and then all of a sudden, it's teaching them spelling and getting them into spelling bee. And then it was after that, it was like tutoring, and then helping with homework and all that stuff. And they were doing well. But this was the thing. When I did that program, the first thing that I thought about was how to maintain or attain a 4.0 GPA, because I knew that now I'm a good host. That don't mean I had a 4.0. but I know people that did. And I said, you know what? I can bring these people into a room in a space and help them help other children. And so that's what I did. Shout out to my friends. We were friends from primary school, Anjanette Loon. I think she's a doctor right now or something like that. Anjanette, wherever she is around the world. But she actually was one of my my guest speakers who would present and help the children. It was only a 2-day program. It was only for 2 days. And, it was how to maintain or attain a 4.0 GPA. And let me tell you something, the 2 kids were brothers and sisters. Ain't nobody comes out. What a person's showed up, okay? They were the only 2 that registered. But guess what? They passed. There was a focus. It was a focus on chemistry and bio, and they passed their class, and they also graduated with amazing GPA and were able to go to college. Now, I say that to say people don't realize how powerful a tutor is, especially someone who has mastered a particular subject. Let's just use that as an example, right? But one of the things that I personally identified was that I only went into it. I don't think I was a tutor. That's why I was like, I think I just help kids. Although I've been doing this for since I was actually in the 7th grade. I was doing that with my cousins or whatever, and they were doing well. And for the first time, when they was actually, focused. But one of the things was that it was my relationship with God that helped me understand that I needed to help kids. And so, as a believer and a tutor, all right, what are some of the challenges you had to overcome both personally and in business? Because you turned it into a business per se to get you to this point.
This is a really hefty question. No. Wow. Okay. So there are a couple things, but top 3, I feel like one is seeing that all things work together and nothing is wasted. I feel like, and also don't despise small beginnings. So all of those things. So it's not where you start, it's where you finish. I know these different things there, but let me elaborate on something. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. If I had let my insecurities at first academically, just because I thought differently than everybody else, stop me, I would be avoiding a gem within inside myself that God placed there to be able to help others. If I didn't acknowledge like these student stories as successes that can be measured and they're not anomalies, then it would not pave the way for other kids to also experience the same recipe for success, and analyzing that information and utilizing the best research-based activities to help them grow. I would also say if I didn't acknowledge my own differences as a person, like I said before, I wouldn't. And also, if I didn't accept the grace that others have given me and willingly give it to others, I wouldn't be able to. Because tutoring really causes you to be a steward of grace, be a steward of patience, be a steward of, because you're not just, it's so much bigger than just education. I tell kids all the time, like, it's not just in what you do. Like, you don't get a good job just because you did well or just because you followed instructions. Sometimes you get a good job because you put 2 and 2 together and you use your own innovation, or you put your own spin on something, or because you just simply tried, or because you're simply just becoming, because it's who you're becoming as a result of the program. It's not just getting an A. What did you do to get there? Who did you become get there?
Oh, that was good. Okay.
I run around the question, but that's it, and just also really you said challenges.
I did say challenges.
You said challenges. I feel like I started talking about the good stuff.
That's fine. That's fine.
But the challenges, also, I guess, too, like continuing to keep God first, but that's in everybody's life, I feel like, with everything being so busy and so like chaotic sometimes.
Okay, now one thing I noticed was that you advanced your tools. When you did A1 academics, when you initially started, it was just putting yourself out there, letting people know that you offer it. But then you started to really, take it to the next level
and like realize that I'm an expert in this field.
So what was the challenge from getting from starting and actually getting to that point where you're now, the way that you show up on social media, like the way that you present your product to everyone and this program to everyone, like what was the challenge to get to that point?
I feel like the biggest challenge was mindset. I feel like the biggest mindset in general was, I can't do this. it doesn't matter where I am in the world to do this. There is an audience for what I do, and it's needed. And I feel like that there is no limit to that. And I can advance it however I want or however I feel, and it doesn't have to fit in a space. I can create my own lane, and that's like fine. It could flourish. Like just sit in that. And it sounds so easy to say, but it's like really honing in on those thoughts and those affirmations, because affirmations do, and how you self-talk really does make a difference.
My goodness. So basically it was a mindset change that helped her to overcome, the challenges that
But
she
also
faced.
to community.
Okay.
Because it's not community, but also people having community in your field, and having people who have achieved goals that you want to achieve already, and those who are bigger fish in the sea, like you can't be the biggest fish in your pond.
Oh my goodness.
Like throughout my time of advancing, I invested in a tutor coach who I love. And she's, Miss Jennifer Leventra. She's the best tutor coach ever. And she really, really helped me to zone in on my own expertise, and help me to connect with other educators and to, hone in on mindset and stuff like that. So investing in yourself too.
Oh my goodness. Listen, from mindset, to also one of the things you said, community, and also, investment. That was how she was able to overcome those challenges. Now, your child may be having a challenge, and that's why Miss Ashley Johnson is here today, talking about the cost of tutoring. And so I just want you to let everyone know, what did it cost you, to tutor?
This is a really good question yet again. I feel like it cost me a couple things. One, it cost you your time and creativity, really, because it's a lot of time in preparing everything intentionally, because I don't just slap things together.
Okay.
Even on social media, I don't just show up any kind of way. Anybody knows me, it's strategic planning on how things are presented and why. Even in planning for each session, it's taking into account each individual child's personality and who they are and where they're at. It's also understanding and evaluating where I'm at to be able to pour into these students, because you have to determine your cup when you're in front of these kids, because it has to be brimming over to the top to be able to show up for these children, in the best way, with not just lights and cameras, but with genuine joy and peace to give out. And I feel like it also cost where I was, the person I was, to who I am now, in continuously being a student, because you can't teach and just expect to be right all the time, or just to expect that if I raise my voice in a particular way that I'll be respected. It's to just sit in being okay with being wrong, being okay with people seeing you make mistakes, and walking in that so kids see that as an example.
Ooh, girl, the gem. Okay, the value that's on here today. That's Miss Ashley Johnson, A1 Academics Program. She's a lead tutor over there, and she's also the founder of that program for kids. Okay, y'all heard the gems that she dropped. Okay, listen. Oh my goodness, everything is over here. So you definitely want to make sure that you guys are tuned in. Join us right over here on the YouTube, on my YouTube channel at Draya Blooms, and you can watch us live right now. And you can also live stream on Dub103FM.com, because this is exclusively airing on Dub. That's right. And now we want to get into this part. I know a lot of kids probably, parents are going to let their children watch this back. So I had a particular mantra that I gave my kids, and I had when I did my program, I had 16 students on every Saturday, and I was like, hold up, Jesus, Jesus. Okay, from primary to secondary to not tertiary. So it was primary level, and then I had junior and then senior. So both secondary. So both parts of secondary. But listen, this was the thing. I had this mantra. So imagine you having all those different groups of children, right? I had help though. I had helpers. Jesus. I'm just saying, listen, those teachers out there, and this is the back to school edition. That's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Teachers out there, they are so invaluable. Listen, you can't afford to pay a teacher, okay? You can't afford to pay a teacher. You can afford to pay attention, but you can't afford to pay a teacher or a tutor, because a tutor is an extension of a teacher. A tutor is someone that comes in on, the back end and say, okay, this child may be struggling in this area. This child may not be able to successfully pass this class. They may not be a dumb student. They may just have a struggle in a particular class. Like most children, either math, if your child knows math, but they don't know English, it's something in right, because guess what? It's hard to have math versus English. Anybody can talk, really, but guess what? Everybody don't have good English.
Right.
But guess what? That's the purpose of a tutor. The tutor, helps with the deficiencies of the areas that you're weak in, because a teacher basically tries to go straight across the board, but the tutor picks up on the things that you can't necessarily, help with, especially your parents. Okay, because listen, this tutor over here, she got the grace. Okay, she says, is seasoned with grace. Okay, listen. So I want you to do this for me. I'm gonna say what the mantra is, and because you are also a songbird beyond being a tutor,
Wow.
I want you to sing it as you're singing to a child.
This
okay?
is really good. This is good because I started this with a child who I tutor now, and like a huge thing for her is like glitz and glam. And I've turned something into a song for her so that she could focus and be attentive.
Okay, hold on. You
So
heard what she
this
just
is
said.
like the same, but because this is her learning style, everything has to have lights, glitter, glam. So obviously musicals and theater is what we have to turn our tutoring sessions into. So
listen, she used the word in that time and season. One of the main things I taught my kids was focus. Okay, in the name of Jesus, focus, because majority of kids struggle because they're not focused, and that's just the main thing.
Not because they're not capable.
Not
because that's a big thing.
Say that again.
Not because they're not capable, or because like they're not trying or applying effort, or because they're the problem. It's literally just because they're not focused, because they don't care. Because it depends on who they're in front of, not necessarily their location.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Sorry.
Listen, that's amazing. So this was the mantra. Wisdom comes by focusing, which causes you to listen, comprehend, and then greater wisdom comes by focusing, which causes you to listen, comprehend, and then ask questions. Now you're gonna sing that.
Okay.
Now the reason why that mantra is what it is a greater wisdom, because some people they're a little wise in certain areas, right? But greater wisdom comes by focusing. If you just hone in, pay attention, right? It teaches you, it causes you to listen. First, you're going to listen to what someone is saying. You're going to listen to your teacher, right? You're going to listen to your tutor. You're going to listen to the person who has the authority in the room, right? They're going to comprehend what it is that they're saying. Don't just jump up and ask a question. Wait and comprehend what it is that they're saying to you, what it is they're teaching you, what it is that they're telling you, and understand it, right? And then ask the question. Raise your hand and ask the question. That is my mantra. Greater wisdom comes by focusing, which causes you to listen, comprehend, and then ask questions. So you're gonna sing it as you're singing it to a child. So you heard the word, you remember it, right? Greater wisdom comes by focusing, which causes you to listen, comprehend, and then ask questions.
This is really good. And this is not prepared for, obviously. So okay, I'm not gonna sing in the exact words. But I'm gonna pretend like this is in front of a class or in front of a kid. Okay. Okay. If this is off key, it's because it's not professional. It's because it's in front of a kid, so they have to like have the beat and everything now.
Okay.
So
Tell me what you need me to do.
Okay.
I need you to
clap.
Okay.
Give the clap. We listen. We listen. We focus. We focus to understand. To understand, not to use our mouth to speak, not to use our mouth to speak, to understand first, then ask your questions once you understand. I know it's so long. But
okay, I'm gonna okay, say it again. And I'm going to join in with you.
That's
so I'm going to
good.
do some background. Okay,
That's
let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's clap.
Okay.
So clap. Okay. Wait, we're off.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
We listen.
We listen.
We focus.
We focus.
We listen
We listen.
with our ears.
With our ears.
We focus
We focus.
with our eyes.
With our eye.
With our mouth.
With our mouth.
We're quiet.
We're quiet.
We're quiet.
We're quiet.
Then we think
Then we think
before we ask.
before we ask.
Are you sure you heard?
Are you sure you heard?
You got to listen.
You got to
and
listen
ask your questions.
and ask your questions.
Okay. The theatrics thing was out. And then it'd be like, oh, I listen.
Okay, so let's spruce it up and make it more urban.
Okay.
Let's make it more urban, so more for the our opinion folks.
Okay.
So let's go.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
This is good, but I
Mhm.
feel like you might have to leave the show.
Okay, so, but I can mix this song, girl. Okay, how go again?
Okay. Listen.
Listen,
Focus.
focus.
Okay, what do Bahamians say? But like, I'm a Bahamian, so I know this, but this is so, I don't, okay.
Listen to me.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Listen to me, little children.
That's good.
Oh,
Okay.
so you gotta say it out.
Okay, go.
Listen to me, little children.
Listen to me, little children.
Before you ask any questions,
Before you ask any questions,
stop raising your hand.
stop raising your hand.
No, start raising
Oh.
your hand.
Stop raising your hand.
And ask your questions
And ask your questions.
after you comprehend
After you comprehend.
what your teacher just said.
What your teacher just said.
Did you listen?
Did you listen?
Did you comprehend?
Did you comprehend?
Ask your questions
Ask your questions.
by raising your
By
hand.
raising your hand.
Oh my goodness.
No,
That's wisdom.
that's wisdom.
Oh my
That was
god.
good.
Oh my goodness, listen, it was so good. Ashley's also a songbird. Listen, so if you need her to come to your child's party and sing a song, you can book her at A1 Academics.
Yeah,
Ashley was like,
funny.
that was a lot. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. But also like I said, you're a songbird and a tutor. And you're on social media. I always like to bring social media up in my conversations because social media is a big part of what kids are doing, And so I wish we could have done probably like a TikTok dance or something like that. But
I
we
know,
can't,
right?
We can't, right? But in regards to using your talent to bring awareness of children's learning disabilities, you are also you are a great responsibility. How do you balance all of the children that you tutor?
This is a really, really good question. I say that to all the questions, but this is specifically amazing because in taking responsibility for each child in my mind, when I process that question, I think all about taking into account their personality. When having different students on my roster for me just means individualized. Every student is different. So that means they need something different. The information has to be broken down in a particular way for them to personally understand what's going on and to find it interesting. And so I feel like that's the biggest thing. And taking responsibility for them, it really means to me to factor in who they are. Not to overlook them or like bunch them with everybody, because that's what happens in the class. They're overlooked or everything's moving too fast because it's so many kids to take account for. So let's just find something in the middle. Throughout tutoring, it's really getting to know that child. What do they need? What do they like? And who are they?
This is so good. Jesus. You learn identity at a young age? Jesus. You know what you could do with that? You know how many adults don't know their identity?
Yeah.
And so if you're teaching them from a young stage, listen, they'll grow up to be so successful in everything that they do because they know who they are. They know why they're here on earth. And that's also, it also stops. I talked about this on my commercial break show last week about suicide. It stops suicide because when you know who you are and you know why you're here, no one can make you, no thought in your mind, because remember, you also talked about mindset, can make you believe that you don't deserve to be alive.
But it's because of the principles you teach kids. Like for me, a huge part is of taking responsibility of kids is holding myself accountable. Like if I start affirmations, we gotta do affirmations every class. Like those kids hold me accountable. Like, Sasha, you didn't say I am brilliant, I am smart, I am amazing today. Like, what's going on with you?
Oh my goodness.
You know?
Now you just did 3 affirmations. I want you to give us 10.
10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They have to be different than what I just said?
Yeah. You can add those 3 and then
Okay.
add 7 more.
So I'm brilliant. I'm amazing.
Mhm.
I'm intelligent.
Mhm.
I'm creative.
Mhm.
I am outgoing.
Mhm.
I am worthy.
Mhm.
I am focused.
Mhm. I am wise.
I'm wise.
Mhm. I'm kind.
I'm kind.
Mhm.
I
I'm a child of
am
God.
A child of God. Okay.
I love Jesus.
I love Jesus.
That's not really a good one because you have to say I am. So okay, so
Yes.
what the last one would be? I am
Open-minded.
oh,
That's a
okay,
big one.
good. Okay, open-minded.
Open-minded is a big one because that has to do with learning too. Because I'm a student as well as the kids are the students too. So
Mhm.
some of them can come in closed-minded, like, oh, they're struggling in a topic,
Mhm.
but because their teacher said they have to learn it this way, it's like if you don't teach it that way,
Mhm.
then it's not right. But that's not
Mhm.
true.
Mhm.
So it's like shifting their perspective to understand you can learn it a different way, and your teacher is still fine with that. The teacher's
Mhm.
still okay with that. It's just you opening your mind to see that being different is fine.
First of all, you gonna be on children because this things for this kids and adults need too. Okay. Being open-minded. Oh my goodness. So if you didn't get that, if you're not an open-minded adult, that means that you're probably not going to be the best person to tutor or to help your children with their homework, with their assignments, and all that stuff. So you definitely need to be calling Miss Ashley Johnson over there at A1 Academics. And so that's that part of it. I love the fact that you use affirmations, but continue. How do you balance all of the children that you tutor?
I would also say creating special moments with each kid is really important to me because I want them to understand, again, this program is so much bigger. It's really about, because kids, they may not, like, in the long run of all of this, they may not remember everything you did for them, but they'll understand and remember who you were to them. You know, a lot of kids, like, it could be taking 5 minutes at the beginning or end of the session just to ask them how they were, how their day was, or allowing them to open up about personal issues that are going on in their mind, to know that it's validated. It could be actually creating experiences. I have a student in Nassau who last year we were working on persuasive writing. How can you convince your mom to buy that new toy using these strategies? How can you write this letter to your principal to spark this new movement or help them to see your point of view? And she did so well on this project. It was donut themed. So she basically had to,
I like donuts.
I know, she basically convinced the judges why her donut that she created was the best donut. And she did so well in this. She used all the different tools, all that kind of stuff. And I surprised her with actual donuts that looked just like the one she created.
So where's my donuts?
You know, or it could be as simple as like a handwritten card that a student isn't expecting, you know, or you just showing up to their game or their graduation. Like, you know, like them seeing that I don't just love Miss Ashley loves me. And Miss Ashley shows that she loves me. And so that means I am loved. Even if I don't see it at home, or even if I don't see it in class, or even if I feel like the oddball out, I don't have to be. Because there's somebody, because my biggest mission throughout the whole thing, if y'all don't hear nothing from me, is helping kids see that there are good people in the world.
Jesus.
In general. Like, there is somebody who is good. There's somebody who is for you. And, you know, with me tutoring, I know I'm all over the globe.
No, that's fine.
But with me tutoring kids, not just in the Bahamas, but also in the United States and Canada, I never want to press upon them my religion. I want to be respectful to whatever is being taught in their household or whatever they're believing, but I don't want to conform to my standards to theirs, because I still have core beliefs, but I want the attributes of Christ to be displayed in me through my actions, the way that I love, the way that I speak. So there's no second guessing who the God I serve is.
Whoa.
And so,
hold on now.
That
You know, second guessing the God that I serve because of how I show up, how I pour out. Okay, girl, put the gems out here. Okay, go ahead.
So, I mean, that I know there's a runaround about how, you know, I take into account each child. I also make sure that each child knows that they are worthy. Some kids come in a program with the negative connotation that tutoring is just for slow kids, or tutoring is just for kids who are struggling. But really, a lot of students who invest in tutoring, they are students who already have 4.0 GPAs
Yes.
or 3.6 or above average because their parents are looking ahead to the future because they don't want to sit on that empty potential because they know their kid can perform 2 times that speed. But a lot of times, kids who are struggling are always in the back because they don't seek help, or they wait until the last minute, or they just accept that to be their false reality, that my child just isn't capable or isn't academically, charged, which is not the case.
Now, hold up, y'all. We're talking about an explosive conversation on all things value. This is the Yesterday's Prize, the Draya Bloom Show. And I'm talking with my special guest, Miss Ashley Johnson, who is dropping so much value on this show today. Okay, listen, these kids are going to benefit from this conversation. You, as a parent, will benefit. Even guardians, people that are a part of your village dealing with your child. Please don't neglect the fact that your child needs a tutor. And especially for those of you who probably may already have to pay fees in school and all these different things, and you may be like, I can't afford it. We're going to be talking about that with Miss Ashley from A1 Academics in a few, but I want to talk about this one thing of one of your lifestyles is an open expression of your love for God and family. How important is family as a believer to your tutoring and talent?
When I tell you this is my favorite question, this is really the best question here, because it's a tricky conversation. And it's tricky because I've encountered so many students who have and come from different backgrounds. And I myself come from a unique background as well. And so the way that I factor in family is through respecting each individual child's family and their dynamic. There are kids who I tutor who don't know who their dad is, who aren't close with their mom, who live with their grandparents, who just aren't sure or don't even want to talk about it. And so the way that I approach that is really just showing love and showing kids the importance of chosen family. That it's not necessarily the family that runs, through your blood or by DNA. It's people who choose to be in your life.
Ooh.
Like myself, people who anybody knows that if you're part of the A1 Academics family, you're part of the family. You're invited to the cookout.
You're gonna get to doing it.
And it's not just a partnership. It's not just a commitment. It's legacy. It's love. And I'm open with how I feel about my family. You know what I mean? Like, I'm open about with each kid about those things as they bring and present information to me. And all of that is confidential between them, and I. And so it really depends. I share as much as they share, and they feel open to share at their pace and based on what they share with me, because I never want to impress upon them something that they're either not ready to be exposed to because they're not in that headspace, or I don't want them to feel like they're not enough, or they don't have enough, or they don't have family because of how Miss Ashley's family is set up, So it really just depends on the individual conversation with each kid because everybody comes from a different background.
Wow. Whoa. Wow. Y'all, listen. Oh my goodness. One thing that she said that stood out is that she's building a legacy of love. Oh my goodness. And she's doing it with your children. If you listen, she's not just serving the Bahamas, she's serving the US, Canada, and all over the world. Wherever you're listening from right now, you can reach out to A1 Academics and connect with Miss Ashley Johnson and her, giving all of this. This is only a quarter. It isn't even a quarter. A quarter of a quarter. A quarter of a quarter of what she dropped on this show. So imagine, the 100% that she gives, or 1000% that she gives to your kids, and also your life. Because when your kids are doing well, you also can be doing well. You can imagine, those child celebrities and stuff like that. Okay, listen, your child might be so smart they may take you around the world. You may be like, Lord, I need some free travel, and listen, God would use your child.
Even they walk in such confidence now that they believe in themselves, because that's the win too. Like there was a child I was working with. She also was in Nassau, and she learned the skills to actually communicate her value to others and see that I could do this. Like all along, she was already 3.5 and up and all this other stuff, but she never truly believed that she could actually do it until recently. And that was a big win for her. You have other kids who walk with the program who could finally do public speaking or express their words in writing, to be able to write those plays, because writing is useful outside of the classroom. To be able to write that speech or become head boy or head girl or get those invitations to those events.
Listen, you know what? I want to just throw a curveball at you because I had this conversation last week on a commercial break of
Okay.
back to school edition. And so one of the things that is happening in the schools and people don't really talk about, and I like the fact that the way that you're more focusing on the child themselves,
Yeah.
right? Beyond just the education, and the education is just as important, but you're focusing on the child, because if you can build that confidence in them and all that stuff, then they will succeed and be successful in their academics. A1, that's right. But one of the things is about bullying.
Yeah.
And so I want you to share something positive, because you are a believer and as well as a tutor, but you're also not just only family, but you understand, the background of, bullying. So share something that a parent can hold on to and a child can hold on to, on how to, overcome either being bullied or being the bully.
This is really good.
Mhm.
And I say that because I've had my own experiences and my fair share of dealing with bullying
Mhm.
in high school, in middle school, so many different things, because kids will be kids, and it can have a lasting long effect on who you believe you are. And you could
Mhm.
start believing those lies and stuff. And
Mhm.
there are kids within the program, or even those that I've ministered to outside of the program, who deal with that, because that's really a real life thing. And it's
Mhm.
really heavy. And so I would say to kids, it's very hard to hear and to truly believe, but it's okay to be by yourself. It's okay not to be in the mix. It's okay not to be in the cliques around you. It's okay, because you can pave your own way. You can read a book. You don't have to be engaged in all the conversation and he say, she say. You can find ways to be active within your community, to stand out in the best of ways. And it's hard when your back is against the wall, but there are other people who have done it if you just engage in those conversations with them. And I would say for parents, it's really important to instill in your child from at home who they are, and not waiting on the world to tell them who they are. And that's through you living it out, because kids will call you out. You say I am this and I am that, but you're not operating in that I am every day. I am patient, but you're here yelling at me because I can't do this and that, I am brilliant, but and instilling that affirmation and that word of encouragement in them, like, okay, if my mom said that,
Mhm.
but also, I know this is long, but also in investing in a tutor, one of the biggest benefits is they have somebody outside of mom and dad, because sometimes kids don't listen to you just because you're mom or dad, not because your information isn't valid. And so kids can look at a big sister or big brother, and they could find wisdom and see how somebody else did it, and they will be receptive and actually hold on to that truth. And that makes a difference too.
Oh my goodness. And that's because the word talks about each kind loving its own kind. So
Yeah.
more sometimes is the child is saying you out of touch. The child sometimes thinks that you're out of touch, or you don't understand what it is that they're going through.
Yeah, that's a big
And
thing.
so they can't comprehend how you would understand. So because they trying to figure that out, they know that if someone within their age group, or someone that looks like them,
And it's beyond a, I told you so.
yes.
Like, do this because I told you so. Or like, believe this because I said so. Like, you're explaining why. Like, okay.
Why do you want me to do this? And so I like the fact that everything that you said about bullying. And I just want to say this before we wrap up today's show, because the whole back to school edition of this conversation, this explosive conversation on value, about how parents, kids, teachers, and tutors all come together. And I hope I get an administrator on next show, because I want to bring all of that and tie all of that in together. But this is the thing with bullying. I don't think a lot of parents realize that either their child are at school being bullied, or their child is a bully at school. And guess what? Your child could be inflicting pain, emotional damage on another child, or your child could be being the one being inflicted with emotional damage from someone else. And so don't think that they didn't have a rough day at school, because what you could possibly go through, yes, they could go through so much, because they may have a different type of hair texture, they may have a different skin color, their lips may be full, or they might not have no lips like that, their nose could be a certain shape or size, their body and all that stuff. And these are the things that a lot of children pick on, as well as their eyes, or the way that their hygiene is, or certain things, all these different things, or if they wear glasses, or they have braces, or if they don't wear glasses, all these different things, or if they're not a part of a clique, because it does get clicky, right? But one of the things that you said is so real, is that you can actually break away and make your own path. You can go outside of the status quo of being in school and being with a clique, and actually bring a book to school and read a book at your break time and lunchtime. Listen, you can do so many things as your own individual, but it comes from learning how to be confident within yourself. There was a point of time that I was so confident in myself. Listen, I wasn't hanging out with even my friends, and I was okay with that. Like, I didn't have to be with my friends on break time and lunchtime, and my friends were cool kids, you know what I'm saying? But listen, sometimes I would go out to school and I would go and read my Bible. Sometimes I go out to school, I go eat my lunch. And guess what? I knew a lot of people in school, so I didn't have to do that. I could have hang out anywhere with anybody. And sometimes I would take my lunch break sometimes too and go in SCM, Student Christian Movement.
Yes.
That's a good one.
I was president at SCM.
Okay.
So that's how I connect with a lot of kids too.
Mm-hmm.
But something you also said, I don't want to cut you
Go
off,
ahead.
is if your child is the bully, because
Mm-hmm.
that's a big thing that we don't talk about on the other side. I feel like it's super important to watch as parents what you laugh at, because that opens the door for kids to entertain certain conversations and certain things that they laugh at and they find funny and they nitpick at, which inflicts the pain because they saw that it was okay first, because it's just a little thing, but it's not a little thing to somebody that it affects.
Jesus. Okay, listen, that's how you wrap up a show. Oh my goodness, we need to sing that song before we go. But let's do that right before we do that. How did it go? We don't remember.
You gotta listen. You gotta focus. You gotta raise your hand. Sorry, you're following.
No, I follow in.
Confusing. You gotta listen. You gotta focus. You gotta raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
Gotta listen.
Gotta listen.
Before you ask for a question.
Yeah. That's Miss Ashley Johnson, A1 Academics, lead tutor over there. And listen, not only that, you definitely want to know that she's the founder of A1 Academics. So her heart is to leave a legacy of love, encouraging your children to be affirmed in themselves, know who they are, and so that they could be successful students, throughout life. I love that. But I definitely want you to let them know, where can we find you and how can we connect beyond this show, because this is an amazing show today.
This is really good. So you can find me on social media. I'm really not very active on Facebook. So if you message me and your request is 2 months old, find me on Instagram or email me. So on Instagram, you'll find all of my information at A1 Academics LLC. And you could also email me at missash@a1academics.com. Or you can find me on Facebook. I know I said that. TikTok. You can find me on TikTok at A1 Academics LLC as well. I'm getting back into the swing of things. And through there, you'll find a link that you can book a consultation call on Instagram. So A1 Academics LLC. And you can find me on all the social media platforms. Instagram is the best.
It is. I love Instagram.
I love Instagram
because you're creative. All creatives love Instagram. Well, guys, listen, it was indeed a great show. I was chilling out with the one and the only Miss Ashley Johnson. And listen, yes, you can record. Yes. So I was chilling out with Miss Ashley Johnson. She is the lead tutor. She's the founder of A1 Academics. It is a course for children. That's right, ages.
So in grades 2 to 9.
Grades 2 to 9. Okay, so that's anywhere between about 6 to 14. 6 to 14. 6 to 13. 6 to 13. Yes. Okay, so you can definitely connect with Miss Ashley at A1 Academics on all social media platforms. And don't forget, you want to connect with this show, Yesterday's Prize, a Draya Bloom show, an explosive conversation on all things value. We were talking about the cost of tutoring, and listen at the gems. Okay, the value. She definitely brought equity to my show. You can also watch live on my YouTube channel at Draya Blooms. That's DRAYA BLOOMS. And you can also live stream anywhere on any device when you listen exclusively on dub103fm.com. Now that's only if it's live, okay? Anyways, guys, I gotta get on up out of here. You already know how we end the show. And so thank you guys so much. Thank you, Miss Ashley. Oh my
Thank you for
goodness.
having me.
Keep on singing the song. And I will listen. And I will focus. And I will be so wise. Until next time, you are tuned in to the best show on this side of the planet. Keep it locked and do not touch that dial. Thank you guys so much for